the toughest thing I think was figuring out where we were going to, because the real event lasted, I think, between 90 minutes and 2 hours, and we wanted to because the script and the film is so intense, and it basically plays out in real time. We wanted it to be very lean. Very lean and quick. So I think the most challenging thing was, where were we going to compress things a little bit? Where were we going to maybe composite a few characters or fictionalize a character here and there? And I think it is important to say that the while the script is, as Kenneth mentioned, based on the transcripts, based on the audio and visual documentary evidence that exists, the police officer characters are fictionalized. Their names and likenesses have been changed. Certain ones have been composited. Certain actions and lines of dialogue have been switched around. Those kinds of things, and that was done both for legal reasons and artistic reasons. But I think that was the most challenging thing. Figuring out where we were going to massage things a little bit to make it more salient for the audience without compromising the essential truth of the story that we were telling, because obviously this is a fictional narrative film that's based on real events, but as with any narrative film, there are small moments, like I said, that are massaged, that are tweaked, that are compressed, and I think that was really the most challenging part of developing the script. And then there wasn't a whole lot that changed from the initial drafts of the script to what appeared on screen. Again, sort of because we wanted to stay pretty true and honest to the transcripts and to what actually happened. So we really didn't make any real significant adjustments from script to screen.
I think one of my in the script, in pre-production, I think one of the biggest things I enjoyed doing was finding the humanity in some of these officers, and really talking with David about, like, where do we go with these guys? Like, Rossi, and even giving Rossi a little bit more of a three-dimensional kind of arc, because I'm the kind of the what if police officer. What if they would have done things a little bit differently? And finding a little bit more of a, that transformation for his character, and but even Sergeant Parks was a big one. That was one that we talked about frequently. He's teetering on that edge of, is he good? Is he bad? And trying to find even subtle, simple ways that we can kind of color his character just a little bit more as we went on. Those are all things that I think, as people who are writing, that was a very enjoyable process for me, to, as you're going on, and then as you get cast people, knowing how they are, knowing who they are, and then kind of adding the subtleties that we know they can do into that role to really heighten it. That was all very interesting to me. Hush hush. We didn't want any sort of attention. I think I got mad at someone because they tried to put on a very small little news article in a very tiny little town. They posted something, and I did not want it, and that was something that was very hard for Kenneth, because he wanted to spread it to the world, and I think the big thing was no, not yet. Wait till the world premiere. Wait till we're out, so that the movie and the creation of the film had no distractions. Nothing that could kind of interfere with the process of making a movie, which is extensive, especially for independent film. We don't have giant studio backings that can just throw lawyers at something if something were to come our way. We don't have that. So we had to focus on the film. We had to focus on finishing this film before we had any sort of attention on this movie, which I think we accomplished. And I know that was so hard for him, but I mean, you did it, and I think it was absolutely worth it.
Kenneth and the Chamberlain family's support throughout the process has been so incredibly important and appreciated, and the project never would have happened without his support and their support and just their belief and trust in us. I want to acknowledge that, because this is obviously very personal for them, and they did not have to trust us tell this story. They didn't have to be so generous and gracious and accommodating and understanding of our process and our learning about the family, learning about what happened, getting through the many stages of the filmmaking process. And it's a very difficult thing, and many people and many families would not have been as patient and gracious and understanding and supportive as Kenneth and the Chamberlain family have been. But Kenneth also did tell us that we had this conversation a month or 6 weeks ago that when word comes out about the film, the White Plains Police Department is going to hear about this. They're going to know about the film. They are not going to like it, and you as the producers are probably going to get calls from Westchester County media, from White Plains media. So be prepared for that. And he said it, and it happened. I think the day we announced that the film was going to have a release, Kenneth got a call, started getting calls asking for our information. So he was absolutely right, and that's one of the reasons that we have, we've all wanted to make sure that we're on the same page, that we're prepared for when that's going to happen.
Transparency on your part is very important to the family, because most families that are dealing with situations like mine, we have been failed 100 times over. So when someone comes up to you and they say, hey, I heard about this situation, I want to help you, you're kind of looking at them with a side eye saying, well, how do you want to help? Because, these hidden agendas. So I would just simply say that to anybody that's thinking about covering something and dealing with a family that's dealing with some type of personal issue, be honest, be upfront about everything, let them know exactly what it is that you're trying to do, and I just really 100% transparency on both sides. That's all I can really say. I've seen the film, the rough takes, every step of the way they made sure that I saw everything. And like Enrico said, I don't care how many times you see it, your reaction is still the same. Tears start to fall, you're quiet, it's almost like you're experiencing that trauma. It's November 19, 2011, all over again. And again, it goes back to how we were treated by the system and how we felt the system failed us. So, as Enrico said, when they started doing this, I wanted to tell the world, but I had to stay quiet, because I also understood that this system and this city of White Plains was powerful enough that they could have shut down production somehow. They would have tried. And so once we put the poster out there and then the people saw the trailer, the city of White Plains is going crazy right now. They want to know, when is the film coming to White Plains? When can they see it? Of course, the elected officials and the police department and the DAs, they don't like it, because one of the things that I've hashtagged underneath it is the world will know. Now the world will know, because they've put out one narrative that wasn't true, and now you're going to see what actually happened. So it's a difficult process. We're still in a legal process. We're in the appeal process. So it's very hard, but, as I said to them, we'll look at it this evening. The tears will fall, but I'll gain my composure and I'll address the audience and I'll answer any questions that they have, because that is the only way that the story is going to be told. That is the only way that there will ever be any type of accountability. I don't know if we'll ever truly have justice, hopefully some semblance of it, but at least now, as I said to them, people will never forget about Kenneth Chamberlain Sr. now, because this movie will be here even when I'm not. I want people to understand that Kenneth Chamberlain could be any one of us. especially when you have a system in place that really doesn't place value on life. Kenneth Chamberlain could be me, Kenneth Chamberlain could be you. All it takes is the wrong law enforcement officers in that situation, and then in a tenth of a second it could go terribly wrong. So I want people to say, what can we do to try to fix this? What mechanisms can we put in place so no other family member has to experience this? And that's really what I want to happen. I want the dialogue to begin to happen, but along with that dialogue, it has to be action. And that will really come from our leadership, elected, community, and faith-based. As long as they are on the front lines pushing the issue, that is the only way we'll affect positive change. And hopefully the movie will do that.
I completely agree with everything he said. I think that the film, the film doesn't necessarily provide answers, but we want those questions to be asked. Questions about whether law enforcement officers receive adequate training on how to de-escalate someone in a crisis, whether it's a person with a mental health challenge, a disability, or someone without a mental health challenge or a disability. Are police departments recruiting the right types of people for these jobs? Are there adequate mechanisms in place that allow for accountability for police officers when misconduct occurs? Does everyone really receive equal treatment under the law? I think the answer to that question is pretty obvious. What factors affect the type of justice that someone receives under the law? Does their zip code affect it? Does the color of their skin affect it? Does their mental health status affect it? Does their disability status affect it? All of those questions I think are really important questions that need to be asked. It was amazing. I was not expecting it. I know that I obviously knew that we have a really amazing film, but when you look at some of the other films that were nominated, I was assuming that many of the other films had higher budgets than ours, had more star power than ours, were made by people who might have been, better connected in the business. So I was really, really honored that we won the award, and I think it speaks to how important this issue is, how important the national conversation that's going on right now is, and how much passion was put into this film by everyone who was involved. I don't think that I don't feel like the film belongs to me. I don't feel like the film necessarily belongs to any one person, because so many people have put so much blood, sweat, and tears into the film at this point. And I think that's really what made it special, and that's what made winning the award special.
We were ecstatic. Winning Best Narrative Feature at Austin Film Festival is such an incredible honor. This is a writer's fest, and they focus on story, and I think there's no better story for us to be able to push to the forefront and to have that honor. I think the reason, as filmmakers, we're always like, oh my God, like, we want our films to be, we want all the accolades, we want all but this is so much more than that. It's just so much more than that. And I think we all feel that. And I'm just so happy that they recognize that this story deserves to be seen, and us getting this award allows us the ability to kind of open up people's eyes just a little bit more on this subject, and hopefully give us that opportunity to be seen. And film festivals, that's exactly what it does, right? It allows your film the ability to be seen. It allows your film to be seen by other filmmakers, by sales agents, distributors, other writers, other producers, actors, everyone. You can see it, and it's a celebration of film. And I think that's just beautiful. It's beautiful for our industry. And I think Austin has done an incredible job with this one, and I think it was a success, certainly for us, but I think for everyone too.